Hey everybody, we're back with podcast number 2. I am Davida Naylene.
It's me, Kiki.
And I am Queen.
Woo!
Hey y'all.
So once we start having sponsors, we will insert sponsor here. So if you know anyone who would like to be featured on our podcast every Monday at 7:30, definitely please let them know to reach out to us. We will drop all the information in this video below. So first up, we're going to have Kiki give us some Coco culture.
All right. Well, first, I wanted to take a moment to remember Ahmaud Arbery. Today marks a year since his passing, the 23rd.
It's been a year already.
Yeah, that's
time fly by. And for those who aren't familiar with the story of Ahmaud Arbery, he was shot last year jogging in a Georgia neighborhood. Well, chased and shot while jogging. So according to CNN, the three that had to do with shooting him, Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and their neighbor, William Roddy Brown, are still in jail without a bond, and they're pleading not guilty. And they're charged with malice murder and felony murder. So
I didn't know that either. They were still in jail?
Yeah, I didn't even know they got locked up.
Me neither.
Without bond.
I mean,
and what was it, 2.23 miles or something like that?
I believe so. Don't have.
Because I remember doing that walk last year. I remember doing that walk last year. So
that's how many miles he was jogging every time?
Yeah, he had only So in honor of him, you know, the community just was asking if we could jog. Now I ain't jogged now, but I definitely did a 2.23 miles.
At least you was out there.
I was out there, and my goddaughter came with me, so we did it. Dang.
Okay, so let's take a moment of silence for Ahmaud. Oh my God. Okay. I'm sorry.
You messing up my moment of silence.
Why you did the church hand? I'm like, I can't look at this no more without laughing.
Jesus, that's funny as hell. I don't understand why she always gotta be so silly.
For real. I'm like, I can't look. I was trying to hold it.
No, I promise that was a real moment of silence. We just can't be serious for nothing. That's the type of person you can't sit by in church.
For real.
Please don't sit in church.
I'm like, Lord, help me. But we are serious about that, y'all. She just sit. So on to a more positive note. Yes, you know you. Girl. I'm like, let me not look at this. I can't look at her. Because, girl. On to a more positive note.
Okay.
Let's give a shout out to Ja Rule, a little hand clap, a little snap.
What he done did?
He done got his certificate of completion from Harvard Business.
Hey,
okay.
What? Okay,
and Entrepreneurship Essentials. So, yes, according to New York Daily News, the certificate program introduces a framework to evaluate opportunities, manage startups, and finance ventures. It's a 4-week-long course online, approximately 25 to 30 business hours. Oh, and the cost is $1,000.
Okay.
Hey,
completion is completion.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ja. We proud.
That's what I tell my students. As long as you do something, you know.
Real. And matter of fact, since it's educational, we're gonna use your real name. What's on your certificate? Jeffrey Atkins. Go ahead.
Okay, Jeffrey.
Go ahead, Jeffrey. We all for education over here.
That's right.
Hey, you know
That's right.
Ja Rule, because he's actually the owner of the New York Stars professional women's football team. So definitely he has been making real moves when it comes to business.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
part of the WFLA. So shout out to Ja Rule for real. Oh, I'm sorry.
He been making business moves regardless of 50 cents.
Oh, the disrespect.
Effortless. Efforts. His ever so many efforts to, he out to get that man for whatever reason.
Well,
50,
next.
you need to. Well, I'm not gonna recommend myself, but you need to get some therapy, bro. Come on, he just angry.
50?
He got all that money and stuff. He got hoes. He got shows. And he's
hoes
still
and shows
salty.
and money, hey.
Yeah, and still throwing
and
shade.
Clothes. And clothes.
Hoes and clothes and shows.
Clothes, yes.
He got the hoes, the clothes, and the shows. He should be just
literally.
He got the power.
Literally.
Yes. And still trying to throw shade and talk people down.
I don't know why he be bothering that man so like that.
I know. He said he ain't gonna ever let them girls just go.
Never. Yeah. I ain't never met her.
What was even that beef? The on Ja Rule as the Coco culture. What was their beef from back in the day? Like I never knew.
I don't know.
I don't know,
that
but
was the end. I don't know.
Anyway, that brings us to our topic when we were discussing Ja Rule. I'm just gonna bring it back. We're going to be discussing today our college experiences. Whoop whoop. Okay, so that's why I'm so thankful that you found something to go with the topic, Kiki, about college or experience.
Education. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, very much educational. So who want to go first?
I guess I'll jump in.
Okay, you're going to talk about both, right? Your bachelor's degree and your master's degree experience?
Yes, I'm going to talk about my AA, my bachelor's, and my master's experience.
You got your social?
Yes, took that route first.
Me too.
So, long story short, y'all, because I really be going in, so I'm just going to say, not long story short, but chopping it up a little bit. So, I'm one of them black children who, what you was gonna say?
I was about to ask, where did you go for
Santa Fe College in Gainesville?
Okay.
Gainesville, Florida. Yep. So for my AA, I got an associate's in psychology. And I'm one of those black children who I didn't really have I don't want to say support, but I did not really have support or someone really educate me on, oh, you could do this college, you need to apply here, you can get these grants, these programs. I didn't really know all that. So I basically was stumbling along, finding out about it by myself.
You didn't have a high school counselor that was helping you out?
I was in this club called Pink Ladies, and she would suggest scholarships that we could. She did suggest those. But no.
Can I just make a point that school counselors, their role has drastically kind of switched, which is why it's kind of, they do so much paperwork, and it's not when back when they would be more focused on talking to kids and stuff like that, and they don't do much of that nowadays. And with school counselors, kudos to people who had that support, but a lot of people just didn't.
And let's say what it really is. In a lot of urban areas, a lot of brown children don't have that support. Home,
Kiki, did you go to a predominantly black school?
Yeah, high school, yeah.
Yeah,
it was in a black neighborhood. Mm-hmm.
Mine was definitely black, and even if they did have people come to the school, I guess you don't really pay attention to it because you don't really know what's going on. And who can blame when you got 4 counselors, but then you got thousands of kids? They're not gonna get everybody, so I'm not just trying to blame it on them, because a lot of that work comes from parents too. And if parents is getting this knowledge, they should be encouraging the kids even more than the counselors to get involved with this stuff that's going to help them, get ahead. But
Yeah,
anyway,
a lot of our kids suffer, especially with public schools, regardless of if it's predominantly white or not, that's just the facts of it, So yeah. What do you
yeah.
mean? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, so I about forgot where I left off at, but
You got your associates in psych.
yes. So
You didn't have
before I can even go to school, so I'm just gonna share a little bit on it. And for those who do watch, I'm not trying to throw no shade. um, so my last year, my senior year, just to sum it up, I was basically homeless that last year. So when you 18, like I didn't have credit or anything, and I wasn't gonna stay at that. I went to Santa Fe, so I needed to get an apartment. I needed to get a co-signer. Um, and everybody have their choice. I asked certain family members, they decided no, they wasn't gonna do that, that they couldn't or wouldn't do it. And then my mom, she was not financially able to, credit or whatever to co-sign for me. And
But you didn't you didn't go to school in Gainesville though. You went to school in another town. So in order to come to where we were to go to school, you had to get an apartment because you didn't live here, right?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I
is Santa Fe
basically
College, or is Santa Fe a community college?
Well,
Oh,
it's a college. It used to be a
okay.
community college, but
yeah.
our first year in 2009, it became just Santa Fe College. It
Got
wasn't called community college anymore.
got
And it's supposed to be in the top 10 because basically it's a sister school with UF. I know you might not know about UF because you from Michigan, but
University.
that's like
Yeah.
that's like an Ivy League. So so anywho, basically y'all, I really pray. I had to pray, get on my knees and pray because first off, I mean, I was still thicker size, plus size then. But I was like, you know what? I'm joining the army because I ain't staying here. Because in my mind, I already knew I'm like, I ain't staying here. I ain't have nobody who was supporting me, nothing. So I
You said
prayed on it.
the what?
The army girl,
You mean like who are?
who are? That's how desperate I was. I didn't give a damn. I just knew my black ass wasn't staying in Ocala. I knew I was not doing that. I'm like, I don't give a damn. If I got to fast for 59 days to lose weight
40
and run
days and
38
40
miles
nights.
around this track to get in shape, I'm going to do that. And my ass going to be in the army because I ain't staying here, baby. I'm out. I'm gone. So I prayed. God felt that. He knew. He just started opening doors because one of my friends, she talked to her mama, sister-in-law, who signed for her and she signed for me. And y'all know when somebody like co-sign for an apartment, they could be financially responsible. That lady did not know me and she did that. And I ain't have no money. I asked some of my people, I'm not gonna call them out because I really don't want them to feel no type of way. I asked them for a few dollars to get a permit because I lost my permit to get some type of ID because you need that to go to a college, right? That was nothing but $15. They wouldn't do that. God made a way. My friend Mama, she was like, I'm gonna pay for this. And I ain't had no transportation, y'all. So literally I had the few clothes that I had. My friends came and picked me up. I had my backpack, I had a little bin full of clothes, and we drove on down to
And
go.
what happened? You actually got accepted into a college that you wanted to go to.
I did, and guess what? Since I ain't have no computer, nothing, my other friend, both of these girls end up being my roommates, but my other friend, she like, you know what? What's your social? What's this? She took all my information and applied to the school for me. She did all that for me. So I'm like, she like, okay, you good. I'm like, thanks, girl. Like, y'all, God was really opening doors. Like, when it was said and done, I was all tearful and stuff because I just knew. I'm like, Lord, please. So he made a way for me to get there. And y'all, so once I got there, I started acting like an 18-year-old who was on, like imagine being in prison for 18 years before being homeless. And then you just bam, released into the world with no adult supervision. But you're not a bad person. You're a good person. You just feel free. I don't want to go too far and say like a free slave because I don't want to joke about our other stuff. But that's how I was. Bam, dropped off. And I really thought I was grown. So my college experience, them first couple years, y'all, it was so good. The
It took you
some
for your associates.
no, it took me longer because I had to take breaks because I was having too much fun. Like I was
How long did it take you?
like 3.5 years. I had to take
And
a
then how,
break,
how
and
long for your bachelor's?
that was 2 years.
Oh,
That
okay.
was a 2 year, well, a year and a half program.
Okay. And then your master's.
1 year advanced standing program.
I know
So
that's
Santa Fe, St. Leo University for the bachelor's, and University of South Florida for the master's.
sweet.
Excuse me. And I really felt like I was doing some of that master's, y'all, because that wasn't easy, baby. That was not easy. I'm not from the front.
Come on.
That was, I had to cut time out. Back then, y'all, I had a boo. I had a man, and he was like, when my time? And I'm like, boo, I gotta study. I gotta write this 27-page paper. Like, boo. Like, please, when this year's over, it's back to boot up again. But right now,
Right.
it's like I really need my attention because y'all know how significant others can be. They weren't trying to hear that, but
Was there ever a time where like after y'all got out of high school, you like either in college or maybe you finished the associates and you finished the bachelor's and now you in your or you was like you just look back like wait a minute like I done did how I get here like I definitely it was some moments where I was like I don't feel like I've really been doing a lot but like I graduated like I felt like it was a joke like somebody was gonna call me and be like no actually can you return that diploma thanks because jokes on you like no I'm saying was there ever a moment or no.
Most definitely.
yeah,
Um,
sometimes I do feel like I could be doing, but girl, you gotta look back and be like, I did that because that was not easy.
Okay.
So,
and that's true. And maybe,
mm,
Davida, you were just so young when you did yours, and you did everything early. Me and Kiki didn't do everything early. And I wasn't gonna blast or put out the school that I went to just because of my experience was different than Kiki's. And
Girl, do it. Go ahead. We ready.
tell your
well,
experience, girl.
oh no. So anyway, social work programs are extremely intense, and you have to have like-mindedness of the people who runs the program. And um, sometimes we don't always think alike, and that's just from person to person too. But when you have like the majority, like 90% of social workers are, white women, sometimes there's a cultural difference. And
So you talking about your undergrad experience right now or your master's?
my undergrad experience.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, I did get my AA too, but I lived at home and it wasn't like it wasn't a big deal. I never like partied or anything. I don't know. I just kind of just went to school. But when I did my AA program, I was supposed to be getting a bachelor's in education because that's what I wanted. But my grades were not good. They were just average. I had like a 2.3 GPA from my AA degree. So they told me that my grades were not good enough to get in their program, even though after I got my AA, I waited a few years to go get my bachelor's. But when it came to my bachelor's, I really wanted to make a difference, but I didn't think that I had the social skills to know how. And if there's one thing I am grateful for is the opportunity to be in a social work program, because I think it helped me learn a lot about myself,
It really
who I was as a person, and how I can be better. And as I help people, it just gives me opportunity to look back at, like, how can I continue to improve as a person? You know, how can I help, if I'm helping people to be better, and if I'm teaching them social skills, how can I apply that to my own life? So I'm very thankful for being in a social work program, but during that time, it was terrible.
So I think it took us all probably the same amount of time, because you got your AA first. How long did it take you?
Like
Your
Kiki,
AA.
just like Kiki, AA shouldn't take 2 years, but then maybe, I don't know what I was doing, maybe like 2.5 years, like maybe 2.5 to 3 years, like whatever. I don't know what I was doing, whatever.
And then what about your bachelor's degree?
Like wasn't that too?
A little under 2 years.
Yeah, it was like a little under 2 years, and then because my grades, if you make good grades, you can get in this accelerated master's program where it's only a year.
Yeah, see, that's dope. See, my master's degree, it took me 2. There was no, and we can get on that when it's my turn, but so just shout out to the fact that y'all were able to have, you know what I'm saying, to move fast through, even though you feel like, oh, it took me like, no, it literally took us all the same amount of time. It's just that I spent 4 years in a bachelor's degree program, and y'all end up coming out with 2 degrees in 4 years. You know what I mean? And I spent 2 years in a master's program, and y'all might have taken some time off or whatever, and you only had to do a year for your master's. So that's
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It had for y'all, because if I had taken a break, who going back? Not me. Go ahead.
Well, I know, and that was
y'all, but go ahead.
Well, that was the thing. I kept hearing. So like Kiki, I didn't hear much about college, which was crazy, because my mom, by the time I had my bachelor's, my mom had like 2 master's degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But even though she was going to school, she was always telling me, you need to go to school, you need to go to school, you need to go to school. But there was never like, hey, this is what happens in college. This is how. There was no explanation. So I didn't really understand college. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what I needed to do, how it worked, how I was supposed to be. You know, it was just a lot of.
Oh, and quick side note, I want to say real quick, because she went to Santa Fe. I also went to Santa Fe. When we went, this one thing I did not like. You have to register your own classes. You have to pick your own, which of course you pick your own degree. You have to select your own classes. When I first started, I was like in the English class, and they were like, oh, that's not the type of English you need. You need to take this, this, and this. So now I went back and looked. Now they have it when you get accepted there, they automatically assigned you a guidance counselor, and you have to meet with that person to help you, which I think is a plus that they do, because before I'm just going off my first semester. Yeah. My first semester, I literally was like guessing, like, because you don't know coming from high school. And plus, I'm not going to speak for the schools in Michigan. You know what? I'm not going to even speak just for my county. Certain, when you take honors classes and stuff like that, it's people there who really can, at least teachers, you know how they kind of like spoon feed you with stuff, versus college, they like, it's all on you. Right. But I just wanted to say real quick, the Santa Fe, that was just difficult in the beginning, but I'm glad that they changed that to help the students out now. Well, go ahead, Queen, just to jump in.
But anyway, so as I got into social work and I'm learning about like service, you know, I'm thinking, oh, this is the kind of stuff I already do. So it just made sense. The more I got into it, the more I'm like, man, this is the stuff I do. I serve people all the time. I help out. I'm always involved into something. So I just decided when this whole Flint water crisis thing came about, Flint, Michigan water crisis, I just decided that it was a good idea that we get, shout out to Flint, Davida.
Hey, what up, baby? No, I'm joking.
I decided I wanted to do a Flint, Michigan water drive. And
thank you.
The news got word of it, and I got an interview. Mm-hmm. And so that day they was like, "Oh, we want you to meet us." And I'm like, "Oh my God, wait, when I go on air and tell these people about this water, the water is gonna flood in." And I was like, "Where am I gonna?" I didn't think about it. It was just like all over the place. And I was gonna do it through my church, but then I decided to do it through my school. Since I was a social worker, it made sense. And the director over even though we went to a school, I'm just gonna say, even though we went to St. Leo, we didn't go to St. Leo, the main campus. We had a campus here in town. So the director ended up telling me that I can do my interview there and that they would be great and that they would love to support me in this. So when I did the interview, we started getting a lot of waters. Did you remember how when we walked into St. Leo,
it was so much like water in the office?
You just walk and then you walk through the hallways. There's water in the hallways piled up. It's like waters throughout the whole facility. It's just like water everywhere. But I called the United Way, and this is what really helped me to make sure I get clarification and get things in writing. You know, like when I spoke to the lady from the United Way, she was like, "Oh, well, you'd have to get like a significant amount for us to transport it or whatever, for us to transport water." And I'm on air like, yeah, the United Way, you know, said that if we got a significant amount of water, that they would help transport this water. So the United Way, the man calls from the United Way to the news and tell the news like, "No, we're not doing that. We didn't say we're going to do that. No." So I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get this water to Flint? Mind you, we all the way in Florida. And I think what would have been better was to do like I don't know what would have been better, but I just was trying to do what I thought I knew how to do, but I had never did anything like that before ever in my life. So it would just end up being like this big deal. And so they basically called me in the office and was like, "Hey, this is not your project anymore. We're taking it over to school." Because they was like, "Now we're responsible for it and we got to make sure these waters get there." But I'm like, yes, but we can still get more water and people are constantly bringing water, you know? So I'm like, they're trying to tell me like, we can't accept any more water, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, y'all don't get. So I'm like going back and forth with them because I'm like, no, these people need this water. Then they went to like telling me like, this wasn't a good idea anyway, because, you know, they already have so much water, blah, 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 blah. When we even know, even to this day, it's still a problem.
This very
so, I mean, if somebody takes some water there right now, they'd be like, "Thank you." So I'm just saying, like, it just was a big deal. It was terrible. And they tried to like, it was not good because I got very defensive because it was my project and all I was trying to do was help. And they were just like, it was just really like we were butt heads.
I would have reached out to a celebrity on just any celebrity that's from Florida, because they would have definitely helped you get it transported. There were a lot of celebrities coming through, or just, you know, doing stuff to, you know, help. And I'm not even talking about like the bigger name, like I'm not talking about Flo Rida, you know what I mean, but just people who would be like, "Oh yeah, I can do X, Y, and Z," or even calling like Flint, like Googling Flint, you know, water department, or Flint, you know, township police, or whatever, like whatever the case may be, and just started asking questions that way. And I'm just saying, this is just anybody who's watching it. Flint still need water. So if y'all are trying to, you know, don't do what Queen did in that way, where people are trying to shut you down when you're trying to help. Flint still need water. So if you're trying to do something and you feel like you're getting a lot of pushback, get on social media, make posts, share it, you know, add us if you want to, you know, include us. I'm from Flint originally, even though I, live about 45 minutes away, and, reach out to celebrities because, they love helping, really. I mean, most don't mind. So,
yeah. So, yeah. And,
sorry
and this
sucks. Honestly, that sucks.
It did suck because the tension was already thick. And then we got our teacher telling us like, hey, y'all are going to be seniors next year. Y'all need to redo this club, because they had a social work club. The then seniors, we're juniors right now, but the seniors hadn't did anything with the club. So we got excited, like, all right, well, we finna get this club back up and started. We finna get it together, da 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 da. And everybody's like, well, who's gonna be our representative from? Because we're about to start voting for officers. So they're like, well, who's gonna be our representative? And there was a day and a nighttime cohort. Unanimously, everybody's like, all right, Queen, she gonna do it. And then there's a guy. He was actually like I think he was a military guy, a retired military guy, for the day cohort. So my class asked me, hey, do you want to be president or do you want to be vice president? What you want to be? What position you want to have? I said, I'm okay being vice president. I don't really want to be like solely at the top. And plus he a man and he's military. I think it's great. And I think that'd be good. I'm good with that. Not that women can't be in charge, please. That's my little thing. So I was like, okay. So they was like, when we get ready to vote, we finna vote. So we getting ready to vote and class is canceled that day. So I cut out the ballots for everybody and did the little thing. And it was like, well, we can just send you, the day class wasn't canceled. The night class was canceled. So everybody's like, hey, we just gonna send you our votes. We're all voting for you. So we're just gonna email you that we're voting for you. That's it. And I never been in like student council or nothing. I never been on the board. So now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, you really cannot do that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is not you. That is you can't vote like that. Even if y'all unanimously voting for me, y'all can't send me y'all votes because it's supposed to be a confidential thing. So everybody was like, I vote the Queen for blah, blah, blah. I vote Queen for vice president, Queen for vice president, Queen for vice president. And I bring the box down, the box that was already, that didn't have ours in there. I brought it down from the day cohort and we counted those in front, me and one of the ladies in the front office. We counted them together. And then I showed her my email where I was like, okay, now we can add these to this. And that's how we did it. So come to find out, our teacher, who was very gung-ho, mentioned it 42 times that we needed to start a club, ended up saying, so the seniors got upset because it was like, how are y'all electing people when I'm the president and I'm the vice president and I'm the da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, where have y'all been all year long, all semester long? We didn't even know y'all had a club. And we're telling our teachers like, no, you told us that blah, blah, blah. So it's me and two other juniors, and we're in this classroom with a whole bunch of seniors, all the seniors. And it's just three of us juniors. And my mouth slick. And I said, y'all not doing anything. It ain't like, so what are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm being very offensive because I'm like, y'all ain't doing nothing. So let us go ahead and take it over and y'all going on about what y'all was doing before. Everybody getting defensive. And my teacher, who was just telling us we need to get in the club, was like, oh, there's the seniors and y'all need to be behind them. I said, okay, well, since that's the case, all our money that we just paid to get in the club, give it back. So I had got all of my teammates, except Kiki. I think Kiki was the only one like, I don't want to be in no club. And I literally think she was like the only one person out of our whole class to not get in it. But we all put in money for the club, for the social work club. And I was like, give us our money back. And they gave us our money back. But so they mad at me, first of all, because I got a strong personality and because of all this, the Flint, Michigan stuff. So it ended up being a hot mess. And I'm not going to put her name out there, but the chairperson, she was like, we need to have a meeting with you. And I was like, you, for what? And she was like, no, this is what she said. We're having a meeting on this day at this time. And I said, no, we're not. You can ask when I'm available, but you can't tell me when I'm going to have a meeting with you. And so that day was a test. And one thing you're not going to do, because by this time I'm focused, I'm making basically all A's in schools. Y'all mad at me personality wise, but grade wise, you can't touch me because I did my work and I was first person in class. I did not play by my grades. And so they basically was like, they charged me for using the anyway, she ended up saying if anything else happens that they're gonna kick me out of the program. So fast forward, we're seniors now. We're seniors. And we started this Facebook group. I didn't start it. One of the kids in our class started this Facebook group. And mind you, we talk about school stuff, but we're also like really, really close. So we're talking about random stuff. Who bringing food today? Because we all used to cook food. We all used to bring food. We was just like, it was like a little family. So we chilling. And I guess one of the girls was having issues. It was a young girl, Caucasian, and she was having issues in the day program with another person. So she wanted to switch to nighttime. And I was the only person she knew in the nighttime because she did like a little backpack drive for kids who are in foster care to make sure that they had like bags and stuff. So she was collecting bags. So we were already acquainted, and she ended up asking me, hey, do y'all have like a group or da-da-da? I was like, yeah, I add you. So I add her in, and it's just the most bizarre thing. We ended up getting into disagreement because we were talking about, we're in this culture class, culture. And we're talking about how she said this would be a good current event about how I guess the United States was doing something about bombing areas with children and families and mothers and children. I said, well, better them than us. So even if it's not the civilians' fault, they still over there with who we in war against, and either we gonna be over there bombing them, or they gonna be over here bombing us. Either way, oh well. And so basically, that's basically what I said in a paraphrase. And she was not happy with it. She took it to, like
what? That's your opinion. That's your opinion. It's
my opinion.
Yeah, just like her opinion would be to not bomb them, and yours is to bomb them. That's not. Everybody can have a different opinion.
Well, not in social work, you can't. Everyone has to have the same mind. And I got kicked out of school. So when I got kicked out of school, they brought charges up against me saying that I used their logo, the school's logo, without permission when I had it in writing. So I appealed all three of those. They dropped that. Then they tried to say that I did something. I said, absolutely not. They dropped that one. I had to appeal. They dropped one. Then I appealed again. They dropped another one. But they still left, I don't even remember, but they left one of them up there. And I was still pissed because I said, absolutely not. You need to take all of this off. And long story short, I'm telling you, I got kicked out of, not only did I get kicked out of school, I got kicked out of my program and school. So I was not allowed to do nothing. I was like nothing. And I told the Lord, I'm about to fast and I will starve to death if you do not let me back in school. We going on a fast. That's what we finna do. Cause y'all ain't finna tell me this ain't where I'm supposed to be at. So I went on a fast. And I mean, like, when I say fast, I don't mean like a 6 to 6. I mean, like, I'm not eating a thing, like only water. And it was just like,
I don't love school that much. They would have kicked me out and I would have been like, bring the pizza. Okay.
No, because
but it would
actually,
have affected her if she have to go to another school. It would have affected her. That would have
you
been on
can't
her
just
record.
say, oh, well, I go to another school and finish these 3 credits. That's not how college works. You have a minimum of what?
Towards
12
the
to
end when she
18
got
credits.
kicked out. It was at the end. We had like one semester left. That would have been starting from scratch. And it probably would have been difficult for her because they would have saw that on her transcript.
Yep. And especially because it was social work. So I basically would have had to get into a whole nother program. I would have had to pay back that money from that semester since I would have got a whole bunch of incompletes. I would have had to, like, my life would have literally not been over, but in a sense, it would have been very difficult for me to become a professional. So one of my classmates, I had let her hold my book and she brought it back to my house and she was like, I'm sorry. I said, don't be sorry. I'll be back. She talking about, I mean, I hear you. You sound real sure, but the way they talking, I said, whatever they saying ain't got nothing to do with me. And they shouldn't be discussing my business with y'all anyway. It's not y'all business what happened to me. And so they kicked me out of school. And long story short, God came through for me. And I am literally the only person in history to get kicked out of that social work program and get back in. Because I went to talk to her. I said, ma'am, please let me back in this program. Whatever happened, I apologize. Oh, we don't want you back. You can't come back to our program. And if they let you back, we'll be very upset. So I don't know, but I got a chance to talk to like the president of the I'm running up and down the Tampa
main campus.
Yeah, running up and down the main campus, running up and down the street like I ain't got nothing else to do, missing work, missing food, stressed out, but still doing my work. Because I had one of my classmates, every night I would go to the school and she would come bring it across from the school. The school was in like a multi-plaza thing. So it's not like an actual school. It was like a building that was connected to other buildings. So across like the way was like a pizza place. And I would meet her at that pizza place every Tuesday, Thursday, and she would come bring me the packets of work and who was still doing their homework and who was getting it done. And who got back in school and who said, oh, I don't have to catch up. Here go all y'all work right here and give me my A. That semester was the only semester I had made straight A's, period. Straight A's. And they didn't have a choice. Because when God on your side, can't nobody tell you no. Well, I know what he told me. He told me I was supposed to be in school. And I understand. I'm not trying to say that you're just supposed to be around here being, not being sorry for what you say or what you do. Because if I could redo it over, I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers, but I'm trying to learn that a lot of stuff that I feel don't have to necessarily be said all the time, and that there's a way to say things. And it's still a difficult lesson to learn because when you've been away for nearly 30 years, you're really trying your best to just be like, man, I'm trying to be a better person, but I do have a strong personality and I'm working on it.
Well, having a strong personality, is not a bad thing. Number one. Number two, like I said, everyone's entitled to was this a PWI?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And so sometimes when, in certain places, now I'm relating to you because of my situation with my job, my previous job. Sometimes in certain situations and in certain groups, whether that be school, whether it be work, whatever the case may be, Black women are just viewed a certain way. So it doesn't really matter how you say whatever you say, you're still going to be viewed as blah. So, it's a thing that, since the beginning of time, since they brought us over here, we've been viewed a certain way. And so it's not, so you were supposed to be in school, and that's why you got back in school. And what you said, had it been extremely offensive, they wouldn't have let you back in. Had it been something that you couldn't bounce back from, they wouldn't have let you back in. Had it been, and they wouldn't have gave you A's either. You know what I mean? So it's not, having a strong personality, I don't think had anything to do with it. It was the fact that you were not willing to, and a woman who is not, taking her bra off and swinging it, like back in the day, a woman who is not stirring and ruffling some feathers, she not making history. So like if Kamala had just, been a regular average, she wouldn't be vice president. Now would she? You know what I mean? So,
Can I also tell you that I had appealed the decision and they was like, absolute. So they said, all right, already told me no. And I had appealed it again, and because it went up to the next level, and I appealed it again, and they told me no again. And then I had to appeal it again. That was the last opportunity I would have had to appeal it. And then God came through for me at that time when he let me back in school. And I also want to mention that this is a private school. So in no way, shape, or form do they really have to give me any explanation. This is not a public school. So the fact that
the private
God made a way, because they didn't have to, and they would have been, because I tried to get a lawyer, and they literally did not have to let me back in school because the lawyer said, well, there was kind of like, it's a private institution, and private institutions can do whatever they can do what they want to do. So that's how you know God was in it, because they did not have to let me back in. But what you said is exactly what I put in my letter. I explained to them that I'm always seen as what they called me, overbearing. They called me,
when women who don't look like us would be called assertive. It's the
same thing. Mm-hmm. Or they call them passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
passionate. Oh, she's so passionate about what she does. Mm-hmm. But y'all don't see me being passionate about these Black people who ain't got no clean water, who kids dying, who pregnancies falling out because they don't have no water. That's a basic human element, like water. It's life. How could you deny somebody something? And if I talk about it, I could literally start to cry because it just really bothered me. That whole situation bothered me. The situation with Flint bothered me. And the situation with just knowing all I wanted to do was to help somebody. It really, really was painful to be, as an African-American female, to be going through something like that when my heart, I promise you, was just to help and to get involved. My intent was never to go through all of that. And I'm telling you, when I walked across that stage and everybody stood up, it was just like, I did it. Cause fuck y'all, actually. Because, and I think from that moment on, I was like, regardless, I don't trust people. God is always on my side, period. All things gonna always work for me because I know who created me, and I know what he created me to do. So I still do have a strong personality, and I still am learning how to say things, and I'm still learning how to pick my battles so I don't have to worry about defending myself over mundane in mundane situations where I don't have to.
Oh, mundane, yeah.
But it was beautiful, but I didn't have any references when I tried to go to my master's degree. I didn't have anything. So I literally had to find
a program like that, transition going in.
It was very difficult because the funny thing is, when they let me back in school, the lady would not answer any of my emails. So I kept messaging
that's unprofessional too.
The secretary of
she don't care.
The president, the secretary, that was my contact person. because she's the one who I was talking to when I set up my meeting, and she was the one who I was talking to when they let me back in school. So I was talking to his secretary. I ended up emailing her again, like, ma'am, I haven't heard. It had been like almost a week and a half. I had not heard nothing from anything. So it messed up my financial aid because they had kicked me out of all of my classes. So financial aid was like, oh, well, you ain't getting none because until you pay us back like you owe us. So they had to go in there, and financial aid was like, oh, no, you got these incompletes. I said, no, I don't. Go change it. And I had to make them go change them incompletes. And then I had to make them, well, I didn't make them, but then I had to ask that they can change them
incomplete. Advocate for herself.
I had to advocate for myself.
Girl,
and then
level of advocacy, it's just so sad that in 2021 you got to advocate like it's going out of style to do anything, regardless.
Well, and they ended up creating a
class for her.
A whole class number.
They were trying to be petty all the way around.
Right. Like, how you have like a social work 1, 2, 3. So instead of SOC 1, 2, 3, it had like an extra. They created and tried to make me pay for it. And I had to call the lady again, say no, they trying to make me pay for it. And this makes me owe and not be able to get any financial aid back because I only got what my classes was for. I didn't get any extra money. I only paid for what I needed. And so, girl, she was livid. You hear me? Because every time she tried to do something, I'd be like, no, ma'am. I was telling. I was been a tattletale. Ma'am, she trying to live in my hand. And every time I was like, no. So she made them take that off. She made them fix all of my stuff. They had to fix everything. She got on her because she didn't email me. She got on her because she tried. No, everything I needed. I was like, ma'am, no. And then let me tell you what they did. They did not let me back in class with all the other students. They gave me a teacher on my own. I had my own teacher. So I just was by myself in a class. And I think the first day I cried because I was like, they trying to separate me and act like I'm a fucking monster. And I'm like, I can't believe they, what I'm saying? I just couldn't understand that they would treat me like that.
We had snacks in here.
Girl, but let me tell you, it was the best blessing. It was a blessing, a whole blessing. Because you know how people be asking stupid questions in class, people be talking, it just be unnecessariness in class. I have to deal with none of that. My classes was like, all right, 20 minutes on one, 20 minutes on the other one. Clearly, I read the chapter. So when we went in there, it was like, well, all right, you doing what you supposed to do. You good, wait that assignment at, turn it in, see you next week, goodbye. And it was just that simple. Because I was doing my work. And so she was like, well, and then she was asking my teacher for her exam because I was going by my teachers. Now, shout out to my private teacher because she could have been like, I don't care what assignments you did. These are the assignments for my class and you got to do these. She didn't do me like that. She followed my old teacher's rubric and let me just complete since I had already completed my assignments for that class for her. She just let me go ahead and follow her rubric. Then she kept asking her for the final exam and she never gave it to her. She never gave her the final exam. So she was like, well, you can take mine, but we can just go over stuff that's on exam. And then you can just take it whenever you feel comfortable. She went over it. I said, I'm ready now. She said, you sure? Now let's go. Boom, 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 boom. 90. Thanks. Goodbye. See you later. It was nice knowing you.
That's what I would have used as a reference while y'all playing for real. But I think of two stories when you telling this, like this relates to Ruby Bridges, who had her own teacher back in the day, which is crazy that things have to come full circle. You know what I'm saying? With our people. And definitely, Ruby Bridges, and who else did I say when you said, oh, Iyanla Van Zant, you said you did your work? Have y'all ever watched her? come on, and I did my work, and I'm here to help people do the work. And I'm like, you better do work. Yeah, that's what's up that you did your work for real. So, dang, that's a lot though, cause
it was.
I advocate, but I'm the type of, well, all right, y'all,
She was booming through them roadblocks.
And my mama told me, she was like, my mama was looking at me like, because everybody was like, Randy, don't worry about it. Like my homegirl literally said these words, you don't need school. Do you know that, right? She was like, you one of the dopest people I know. Literally, if you do not ever go to school another day in your life, you're going to be straight because you're such an amazing person. You can do anything, literally anything, and you gonna do it. And I said, that's beautiful and all, but no, I need my education. But thank you. I need this education.
And not only that, do my education. They owe me my education.
They owe me my education.
Like
reclaiming my motherfucking time.
Period.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm here for the 40 acres and the mule. So
actually 50 and 3 mules.
That's on period.
2 chickens, a cow, and 4 horses. Now.
Today. Dang.
So
that's inspirational though.
It is.
Yeah. Cause I don't know. Like I got some push, you know what I'm saying? Like I advocate, but then at some point I just be like, girl, I don't even care. Like y'all not even all that. Like
I know.
Apply to Harvard because y'all getting on my nerves. Like,
well, you know what's the irony of it all is that they taught me how to advocate. I learned.
That was the lesson. It wasn't about the education. It was about the process.
Mm-hmm. And I had to tell, and that's what I wrote in my girl. You should see these letters. I crack the heck up every time.
Don't ever, you should laminate them.
I literally, when I promise you, once I sign on the dotted line for this house, literally gonna laminate them and put them up, because if you would have saw all the the letters, and especially because my response is not that of my ancestors, I feel like I'm being blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, no, da 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 da, and I'm just going on and on and on, and just like going on and on, like I just know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna let this black woman back in here today.
Yeah,
girl, and I was quoting my books. I said, nah, what kind of social work would I be if I didn't advocate for myself? This is what you're seeing is what's going to happen when I get clients. I will advocate for them. I will. And I'm going to do it with the same tenacity that I'm advocating for myself. This is the kind of social worker that you want.
Okay.
Like people was like, don't worry about it. That ain't what the Lord told me. That ain't what he said. Nah, we weren't about this. We weren't about it. Because actually we weren't about it.
Because I'm going to just write this letter and he got the rest. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Because I feel you 108%. But I think it's about when it comes to getting what you know is owed to you,